Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Tutelage, a guide to learner. Here this is Sriparna. I hope all of you are doing good. Today we are going to discuss one of the most interesting topic, that is counseling and its types, and which is from unit 3 educational psychology. And you all know that educational psychology is one of the most interesting part of the education. So I hope that session would be a very important and beneficial session to everyone. So let's get started the session. So learner, if you have missed my last session, so just go and check my first comment and my description box, because where my last session link is already provided. And if you like my video, so please do one like, share and comment, and please do some support and subscribe my channel for getting more useful session. So now coming to the main part of the session, that is counseling and its types. So learner, do you know what do you mean by a counseling? So counseling is basically refers to an interaction process which facilitates meaningful understanding of self and environment and result in the establishment and or clarification of the goals and values for the future behavior. It helps an individual to gain self understanding, self acceptance and self realization. Now coming to the next part of this topic, that is nature of the counseling. So the first nature or feature of the counseling process, that is it is a two-way interaction process. Second one is direct communication of talking, listening, transmitted from one to another, highly confidential process. So now why the counseling process is important in our daily life? Because it helps a counselee acquire independence and develop sense of responsibility, explore and utilize his or her potentialities. Okay, so that's why it is very important to our daily life also. It helps an individual to know himself better, gives him confidence, encourages his self directedness and provides him with new vision to grow. Now going to its types. So the counseling process is of three types. The first one is directive counseling, the second one is non-directive counseling, and the third one, that is eclectic counseling. The first process, directive counseling, the theory on the directive counseling was developed by Williamson. Okay, so what do you mean by a directive counseling? So the directive counseling is one-to-one process. Okay, so the counselor in this process, the counselor assumes major responsibility of solving problem. He or she identifies, defines, diagnoses and provides a solution to the counselee also, and he or she also informing, explaining, interpreting, advising the counselee also. Okay, and it is basically a counselor centered process, and it emphasis on the problem, not the person. So what are the steps of this process? So the first step, that is analysis, then synthesis, diagnosis, prognosis, counseling and the follow up process. Okay, so directive counseling process is also time saving process and economical process also, and it gives happiness to counselee and get solution, emphasis on the intellectual aspect, and all are the merits of the directive counseling process. And now going to the demerits one, that is the process, directive counseling process kills the initiative, makes him helpless, doesn't guide counselee to be efficient and confident. So undemocratic process also, so it is one of the undemocratic process. Obviously we are know that these are the disadvantages or demerits of this process. Now going to the second type, that is non-directive process, and it is basically a client centered process. The theory on the non-directive counseling process was developed by Rogers. Okay, so what do you mean by a non-directive counseling? So in this process, counselor only directs and guides, ask few questions, counselor takes active part. So the goal of this process is independent and integration of the client, create an atmosphere for freely counselees work out stressed on emotional aspects. Relationship is the establishment of the warm, permissive, accepting climate which helps the counselee to express his or her self structure also. I think this is clear. So we have already told non-directive counseling process is client oriented, but on the other hand the directive counseling process is the counselor oriented, and that is the difference between the directive and non-directive types, counseling types. Okay, so in this process there is a freedom because it is a client centered, client oriented process, and it relieves tension due from catharsis. It moves towards acceptance of himself and herself. Okay, so these are the advantage of these types. Okay, now going to the demerits of this type, that is, obviously it is a very time consuming process, and most importantly in this process all problems of the counseling cannot be sorted out through talking only. So that is the most important demerit or disadvantage of this model. Now coming to the third type, that is eclectic counseling process, and the theory of these process was developed by FC Throne. Okay, so now going to the meaning of the eclectic counseling process, it is basically a combination of the directive and non-directive counseling process. So in this process counseling is evaluated from directive to non-directive to directive. So it is basically a synthesis of two process, both active and cooperative. Both means counselee and the counselor both are the active participants, active part in this process. Okay, so I think this is clear. Now going to the some steps of the eclectic counseling process. So the first step is initial interview, the second one is diagnosis of the causes, third one is analysis, fourth one is preparation of the tentative plan for modifying factors, next one is securing effective conditions, then interviewing, then stimulating the client to develop his or her own resources. Now, assuming its responsibility for trying new modes of adjustment, proper handling of any related problems of adjustment. I think this is clear. So, we have already told different types of counseling and the meaning of counseling. I think that topic is clear to everyone. If you have any question on it, so please do one comment in my comment section. I will reply you positively. So, learner, we are done for the today's session. If you like my video, so please do one like, share, and comment, and please do some support and subscribe my channel for getting more useful session. I will come again with a new topic, new session. Till then, stay tuned. Happy learning. Thank you to everyone.